On a stormy night, a lone wanderer, Jacob, rides through the dense forests of the ancient kingdom of Eldoria. His destination is the infamous Ravenrock Castle, which is the subject of many gruesome legends. It is said that a priceless treasure is hidden in its halls, guarded by an ancient curse. When Jacob reaches the castle, the massive gate opens as if by magic. Inside, he finds a torch that seems to light itself, illuminating his way through the gloomy stone corridors. Suddenly, he hears the echo of footsteps. He hides behind a statue as a hooded figure walks past. Jacob decides to follow the hooded figure quietly. The corridors become narrower and darker until they lead into a large, poorly lit room. In the middle of the room is a large stone table around which several hooded figures have gathered. They seem to be engrossed in some kind of ritual. While he is hiding, Jacob observes how the figures place an old map on the table. They speak of a hidden room where the treasure of Ravenrock lies, but they warn each other of a guardian spirit that curses anyone who dares to touch the treasure. Jacob decides to be patient. He waits until the hooded figures have left the room, and then takes the opportunity to explore the room. He finds the map on the table and studies it carefully. The map shows a hidden passageway behind the throne room that leads to the secret treasure. With the map in his hands, Jacob makes his way to the throne room. The hall is magnificent, but deserted, and a large, dusty throne stands in the middle. Jacob examines the wall behind the throne and finally discovers a hidden handle. When he turns it, a secret door slowly opens. Jacob carefully approaches the secret entrance. He knows that such places are often protected by traps. With his torch in hand, he examines the floor and walls. He discovers several hidden traps and is able to skillfully avoid them. The secret passage leads Jacob deeper under the castle. The air becomes colder and the atmosphere more and more threatening. Finally, the passage opens into a small chamber, in the middle of which a glowing artifact rests on a platform, the treasure of Ravenrock. But the moment Jacob enters the room, he hears an eerie whisper and a ghostly figure materializes in front of him. Jacob pauses and observes the guardian spirit closely. The spirit seems to be trapped in a state of everlasting torture, chained to the treasure. Its eyes are deep and sad, and it seems as if it is more than just a simple guardian. After a moment of silence, the ghost begins to speak. He tells Jacob that he was once the Lord of Ravenrock, cursed to guard the treasure for eternity, after stealing it out of greed and lust for power. The only way to break the curse is to give the treasure to someone with truly noble intentions. With true compassion in his heart, Jacob reveals his true intentions to the spirit. He tells him that he was searching for the treasure to save his poor hometown. He never intended to use the treasure for personal wealth. The spirit listens to him carefully and seems to be touched by Jacob's honesty. A soft glow surrounds the spirit, and the dark expression in its eyes gives way to a peace that has not been there for centuries. "You have broken the curse," the spirit whispers, before disappearing in a glimmer of light, releasing the treasure. After Jacob had taken the treasure of Ravenrock and broken the curse, his journey back to his hometown began. But the way back was no less dangerous than the way to the castle. On the way back, Jacob encounters a group of bandits who are obviously after the treasure. They had heard rumors about the treasure and its new owner. To avoid the bandits, Jacob uses his knowledge of the forest and moves quietly and skillfully. He manages to get past the group of bandits unnoticed, overhearing their conversations about the treasure. They seem convinced that the treasure holds a dark power. After Jacob has overcome the bandits, he reaches a small village on the edge of the forest. Here he meets an old acquaintance, the healer Mara, who tells him about a mysterious illness that has afflicted the village. Once in the village, Jacob decides to help Mara find a cure. Together they collect herbs and prepare potions. As they work together, Jacob feels a deep connection to Mara that goes beyond their previous acquaintance. After Jacob leaves the village, he meets an old man who claims to know more about the origin of the treasure. The old man tells of an ancient prophecy, which says that the finder of the treasure is destined to save the kingdom from a great danger. Curious about the old man's words, Jacob asks him to tell him more about the prophecy. After Jacob asked the old man for more information about the prophecy, he led him to a hidden chamber deep in the woods. The chamber was filled with ancient scrolls and artifacts that shed light on the history of Eldoria and the treasure of Ravenrock. The old man speaks of an ancient legend in which it is prophesied that the kingdom of Eldoria will be plagued by a great drought, and that only the rightful owner of the treasure of Ravenrock has the power to end it. Jacob reflects on the prophecy and decides to return to his hometown to help the people there and perhaps discover the truth behind the prophecy. The news of his return with the treasure of Ravenrock spread quickly, and the people saw him as a hero and savior. Jacob confronted the challenge of the impending drought with determination. He used the treasure to build wells and irrigation systems, and employed the best farmers and scientists to develop sustainable farming methods. His actions not only strengthened the city, but also brought hope and cohesion among the people. While saving the kingdom from drought, Jacob realized that the true power of the treasure lay not in its material value, but in the inspiration and cohesion it brought to the people. The prophecy turned out to be true, but not in the way many had expected. It was not the magical power of the treasure that saved the kingdom, but the actions of one brave man who was prepared to fight for his fellow man. The mystery of the cursed Ravenrock Castle remains in the legends, but for Jacob, it was the beginning of a new era of hope and prosperity.